Cooking in Falmouth is made possible in part by the following. Appliances donated by Crane Appliance. Kitchen installation donated by M. Duffney Builders. Specialty Studio Electric and Gallery installation donated by David Rogers Electric. Kitchenware donated by Eastman's Hardware.
Hello everybody again, and thank you for coming. This is the brand new kitchen at Falmouth Community Television, and we are starting a cooking show, and I think we even have a name for it. I think we're going to call it, for right now, I think we'll take some ideas from the audience, but I think we're going to start with Falmouth Cooks, Falmouth Cooks. And I'll be the host, or hostess. And we're going to have a number of different people coming in the new year in 2020. And I will be here with them, helping them cook, which is always the fun way to do it. So today, I guess you should know a little bit about me. I'm Gail Blakely, and I have been a long-time food columnist for the Falmouth Enterprise. Long time, 35 years. That's a lot of food columns, a lot of recipes, and a lot of dishes to do. A lot of kitchens to equip too, I guess, if I think about it that way. And I've also been teaching cooking at Highfield Hall and Gardens, our beautiful mansion on the hill. I've been doing that for about 12 years. And before that, in terms of teaching, I did a stint at the Falmouth Night School. Remember the Falmouth Night School? Way back now, it's Falmouth Community School. But I did that for a while, and I think I'm going to stop right there in terms of my resume, because there's a whole bunch of other things that probably are not relevant to this, so we won't even go there. But before we begin, I want to thank a couple of people, certainly you guys for coming, and whoever's watching on television. But Eastman's Home and Hardware has been just wonderful to us. Len Hunt has given a whole bunch of stuff to this kitchen, and I think Mr. and Mrs. Pacheco have also donated some of their stuff from home and from their restaurants. But Len has been just wonderful, and he's let me try out new things and come and show you this kind of thing. So this is a spatula, obviously, but this is, I think that is just so cool that it will go like that, and it's not going to get your counter dirty. So who needs a spoon rest, right? Nobody needs a spoon rest anymore. And then this baby, this is, you tell it what grind you want, and then all you do, it's got batteries in it, and you just turn it, and when you turn it over, it just goes like that. I think this is terrific. Trudeau. All of the stuff is available certainly at Eastman's, and if you tell Len that you saw this on FCTV, he might give you a special discount. I don't know. We'll talk about that with him, but I wouldn't be surprised. So today is holiday time, holiday entertaining. I'm going to be doing 3 dishes for you, and hopefully one is going to be coming out of the oven in about 15 minutes. So I guess I will go ahead and get started with making my chocolate bark, and then wait for that Dutch baby to come out of the oven. You're going to see how to do everything. I think the recipes are going to be available, scrolled through, or somehow through the wonders of televisions and cameras and that kind of thing. But what I'm going to do is talk about amounts, and I will read from the recipes that I have here. But if you miss that, you can certainly get it, I think, from watching the program on television. So this is wonderful dark chocolate. I think it's 72% dark chocolate. And this is a stove that I'm just learning to use, but I didn't have a double boiler, and I didn't want to get one from Eastman's because Len has given us plenty. So this is my makeshift double boiler. So this is my pound of good dark chocolate. I'm just going to move this over to here. And what I'm going to do with this is make chocolate bark. This is a recipe from Anna Thomas, who wrote The Vegetarian Epicure, I think 5 decades ago. And she had a new book out a couple of years ago called Vegan, Vegetarian, and Omnivore. And it's really one of the better cookbooks for right now, I think, because everyone is saying, I'm having people coming to the house and one's a vegan and one's a vegetarian and 3 of them just want to eat raw meat. So what do I do? You know, how do I serve them? And her book addresses that. She has a bunch of different meals that you can add a little bit of meat protein, add vegetable protein if you want, but you can really cook from that book. I think it's, and it's beautifully illustrated as well. So this is her dark chocolate bark. So here's our pound, and I have asbestos fingers, I think. A pound of chocolate, and I'm just going to spread this on here. Oops, not yet. I wanted to add my chopped dried cherries. There's 2/3 of a cup of chopped dried cherries, 3 tablespoons of minced crystallized ginger, and another 2/3 of a cup of chopped toasted almonds. And I cheated. I bought the almonds already toasted. I couldn't cheat and get the ginger already chopped, so we did that. But it was pretty easy to chop, I think. I didn't do it. It was easy. Yeah. It wasn't bad, huh? Okay. My sous chef is in the audience here, so. All right. So you really want to get that mixed in. If I had done it correctly, I would have added that before I made my first schmear there, but I think this will be just fine. You want this part of the chocolate to be as well mixed as you can get it, so that whenever you take a bite of the chocolate, and it's going to be refrigerated, so it's going to become bark. But when you take a bite of it, you get a lot of everything that's in it. And it's really only, 4 or 5 ingredients. And making sure that every bite that you get has some of the dried cherries, the almonds, and the candied ginger. And this was simple to do. As I said, we made our own double boiler, but you can do it. I think a lot of people melt chocolate in the microwave. I'm not comfortable doing that because sometimes it seizes. I don't know the strength of the microwave or whatever. I'd rather control it and have it with my double boiler, so I know exactly what's going on. I need somebody down here like Julia Child used to have, and I could just hand it and it would disappear. And here are a few dried cherries and some of the toasted almonds to go on top. And this is actually going to go into the refrigerator and harden. Should take about a half an hour. And I'm also going to sprinkle it with a little bit of salt. This is the nice homemade sea salt from Waquoit Bay in 2018. Nice and flaky. You can use any sea salt. You can use Malden, which I think is very flaky. This, I'm hoping we can see that, is coarse. It's a little coarser than kosher salt, but it's not as flaky as the Malden sea salt, which is also much pricier, I think. Of course, it has to come from France, so. Oh, a little bit of salt never hurt anybody, right? Salt and butter, okay. All right. Okay, so that goes there, and this is going to go into the refrigerator. And then when it's all done and hard, we're going to break it up, and I'm going to show you how to wrap it in, make individual gifts for people. Okay, I think there was just town meeting, so we've got a very full refrigerator. but it's nowhere near as full as mine at home, so I'm very practiced at balancing things for the most part. Okay, so that's done, and when that gets broken up, I'm going to show you how to decorate it and keep a basket full, which can be hostess gifts, or you can either give them or leave them by your front door, so when people come and go during the holidays, they can just take a little bag of the chocolate bark. All right, I guess that's the first one. Okay, now we're going to do a healthy dip. Healthy because we have all the chocolate, and then we've got our Dutch Baby in the oven, which should come out in about 7 minutes. I'm going to peek. You're not supposed to, but I can't stand it. So, coming along fine. All right, so we're going to assemble a Christmas tree. Pretty easy. And I cheated and bought broccoli that was already cut up. So what I'm going to do is just take this nice platter, donated by our producer, and I'm going to visualize on this a Christmas tree. So it's just going to be something that's going to go like that. I'm going to put the broccoli on it, and then we're going to put some white cauliflower for snow on the bottom. I have some sesame sticks to put on the bottom for the trunk of the tree, and pass them around. Actually, we could do that, and then decorate it with a few tomatoes and some other assorted vegetables here. So when you put this out, you know that what's going to get eaten probably first is going to be the Dutch Baby. Secondly will be the chocolate, and then people will decide that they really want to take a little bit of the vegetables and start with start being healthy. But by then they'll be full, so that won't really matter. All right. So you can certainly do this with just a regular head of broccoli, but I'm going to, as I said, just make it. Now you can blanch this if you want, and I think raw. I mean, so many people are saying that raw is healthier, and I think we can trust that. These are bags that you steam in, so I know that the broccoli is already washed. So if you can see how that is just coming together. And then I want some snow on the bottom. And you're saying to yourself, what is this? Is this just people who are going to just grab these pieces of broccoli and just sort of chomp on them? No, we have a vegetable, we have an herb dip for everything to go into. So, and the tree should be wider at the bottom. So just like that. And there's a limb that fell off. Let's do the snow next. And this I think I want to cut up a little bit more. Just checking my timer on my baby. My Dutch Baby in the oven. Really, you just want the effect of the white. So if you have terrible cauliflower that's all yellow when you don't do snow. Or you could do, you know, you could really do this. You could put the dip down there if you wanted to. If the dip has sour cream, I'd use creme fraiche in this particular one, and mayonnaise and fresh herbs and a little bit of Worcestershire and a little bit of garlic. But if you have the broccoli and you don't have the cauliflower and you still want to give the snow effect, I don't see why you couldn't do that. I just thought of that, but it might work. So. Okay, and we'll make it about a 6-foot snowstorm. There, okay. And let's see here. Called for pretzels, but I couldn't get plain pretzel sticks. Can you believe? Every pretzel stick has honey, or I don't know. We have far too many choices in this country for everything. But that's political, and I'm not going there. So here's my tree stem. And then there would be a few little branches, wouldn't there be, that would be showing through if it were a real tree out in the snow. We get really carried away and probably do a snowman, but not for this show. All right, so there is my... Now I know the camera above is probably picking this up, but let's just show you anyway. So you can see that that's a tree, basically. Okay, there it is. And oh, I forgot the star on top. Yellow pepper, orange pepper, already sliced. And then we get to decorate it. Now the other thing that you could decorate it with that I did not do today is take some deli cheese. Ask the butcher, the deli person, to slice you some American or some cheddar, and probably an orange or a white, and ask them to slice it for you, maybe, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch thick, and 3 pieces should be enough of the cheese. And then take a little star cutter and cut out little stars, and you can also decorate the tree with the stars. We're just going to decorate with little tomatoes. This is reminding me of one of the very first shows that we did with FCTV with Kevin Callahan when he wanted to learn how to cook, and I was teaching him how to cook. And oh Lord, we had quite a mess on our hands at Highfield. And he was assembling something. I don't know, maybe he was making a tree. I don't know, maybe, I can't remember. But I know it didn't look like, and I could not stop laughing. And now I realize how awful that was of me, because this doesn't look like a tree at all. Okay, time for the wow. And that wow is going to go right on my little trivet here. And my pot holders are right here. Okay. So, this is a Dutch baby, otherwise known as a puff pancake, otherwise known as a Yorkshire pudding. And this has cheese and herbs in it, and it's really quite wonderful to be able to serve to people, because everybody says, oh. So what I usually do with this one is the one I make for cocktails. So I would slide this off, put it on a plate, and put it in the middle of the table, and let people just sort of pull at it with lots of napkins. So I'm going to put that on a plate now, and I'm going to show you how to make one. But what I want you to see afterwards is how it deflates. So you really do want to have this in the oven when people are coming over, and making sure that you can bring it out and have everybody go. Which I didn't hear any of, by the way. Okay, a plate. And this is a very, very hot pan, and it's a Lodge, already seasoned. I just got it this weekend at Eastman's. Thank you. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Isn't that lovely? And it's got some sage in it, and this one has some Parmesan in it. So I am going to decorate it. Sorry, not sage. I misspoke. Thyme. So what I always like to do is add the herbs that we are cooking with. And if you wanted to gussy it up a little bit more for the holidays, you could probably do a few things like this. And then you're ready to present it. Smells good, doesn't it? Mm. Okay. So you can see that this is already deflating. If I were serving it in the pan that it baked in, I would certainly have it on a trivet. I have a glass coffee table. I don't know what would happen to the glass coffee table, but I will just leave this here, and you will watch it sort of go down, but it'll still be good. Okay, so let's finish with our tree here. And let me see how this looks, because I'm really doing it upside down. Now it does look like a tree. All right, so now comes the decorations. Sort of making a garland. These little baby tomatoes are the tiniest little things. See, this is why pastry chefs get paid a lot of money, because this stuff is very labor intensive. But hopefully in the end it's worth it. And you could use grape tomatoes, you could use all red. They also have the nice darker ones now. So whatever is going to resemble some sort of either Christmas lights or decorations. But anyway, people are going to eat it, so we want to make sure that not only does it look appetizing, but that it's easy to eat. And these guys are not going where I want them to go. But that's the beauty of television. Wish we could make it look better. Okay. All right, so this can be covered with plastic wrap, cling wrap, whatever. And this can be done way in advance. You could make this the morning of a party and then just bring it out. And the dip that I'm going to make next should be made in advance. We were waiting for some ingredients, so I didn't mix it up yet, but it really, dips like soups and stews and that kind of stuff really needs to sit for a little bit to meld the flavors. So, looks like a Christmas tree that's seen one too many Christmases. But so there you are. As best as you can see. Okay? Okay? I won't ever laugh at Kevin Callahan again. Ever. Ever. All right, so here is my ingredients. Here are my ingredients for my dip. So in here is Worcestershire and herbs. I think there's thyme and parsley and chives. And I'm going to add there's a little bit of minced garlic in the bottom. And I'm going to add some creme fraiche. And also some mayonnaise. My mayonnaise of preference is Hellmann's. I think it's known as, can't remember what it's known as in other parts of the country. I want to say Best Buy, but it's not Best Buy. Best something, I think. And best what? Best, just the best one. Whatever. Anyway, that's what Hellmann's, but people go back and forth between Hellmann's, and I don't see much Miracle Whip on the shelves anymore, so I think Hellmann's has won the battle. Hellmann's has also told me in person when I called them and talked to them that you don't need to refrigerate Hellmann's mayonnaise, that all these myths about the eggs and it making you very ill if you take it to a picnic in the summer and it gets hot, that's not true, but I think I would still keep things chilled. We Americans are a little different than some of the European countries with that, but I think that it's probably got so many preservatives in it. Both Hellmann's mayonnaise and Velveeta cheese will be around long after we're gone. So this can go in a nice little bowl. See, I guess I wouldn't use this as the bottom for the snow because it's got so much green in it. Although, it could be a light snowfall, I guess. So this can go like this. This is not falling very much. No. It's really cool. All right. So this would be served just like this. Nice little round edges. And you could just nestle this in right there, or you could put it right next to it. I think nestled in will do. And then garnish it just with a few of the herbs. Once again, whatever herbs you've used, you want to let people know what's in it. So you want to take a few of your chives and a little bit of your parsley. Which is here. Okay. So that's done. Okay, 2 done. 2 more to go actually. Okay, so that's done. This baby's done. And I want to get my next Dutch baby in the oven, so you're going to get to see me mix that. All right, so this is the mixing for the Dutch baby, which is just a pancake. Now there's a couple ways to do this. I actually like it in a processor. And it's 2 eggs, 4 eggs, it's 4 eggs, a cup of cheese, and a half a cup of flour plus 1 tablespoon of flour, some salt and pepper, and a scant half a cup of milk. And I think, you can mix that and let it, the longer it stands, the higher the rise you're going to get, the more that you can get the ingredients at room temp. So I've got my milk at room temp, my eggs also. Flour, of course, is at room temp, although sometimes people keep flour in the refrigerator or the freezer. That's going to increase your rise, and that's why I think that one did so well. I mean, that baby just really blew up. So what I'm going to do now is my pan is in the oven at 4 1/4, and it's getting very hot, which is crucial. It's absolutely crucial to have your pan hot. You can do this on top of the stove as well, but I like to do it right in the oven. Okay, so very quickly, while that melts, I'm going to do 4 eggs. And you can also make a sweet version of this. We're making the savory version today, but you can add vanilla and sugar. And when it comes out, you can then drizzle it with a little bit of maple syrup, or even a nice icing, an icing that's made with milk and powdered sugar. I'm chasing a piece of eggshell. You know how you're never supposed to do this when you're baking? You're always supposed to put them in a pot. And I'm in a little cup or something, do them into a cup, and then you know that you're never going to get eggshells in. I think I'm still a child of the 60s and like to take too many chances with this stuff. So I take the risk. So whisk these up. I have Himalayan salt here. I've started to use Himalayan salt a little more often because it's got the minerals in it. It's also all over the place. You never used to be able to find it, and now you can find it in like 5 different textures. So I like to use the fine salt in this, although you certainly could use kosher salt. And I'm going to add my flour, which already has pepper in it. So I put salt in the eggs, and there was pepper in the flour. And I'm not going to add any more pepper because you've already seen me playing with my new toy. And that's what is probably enough. I think I probably put about a half a teaspoon in. So, okay. So this gets whisked up. Now, as I said, processor. Put the eggs in the processor, salt and pepper, and then your flour. Pulse it a couple times and let it all come together. And then add your milk. So this is a scant cup of whole milk. Again, it's at room temp, so it should help the rise of our baby here, our Dutch baby. And it's just, that's really, interestingly enough, all it is just a batter. People have made popovers. Either big popovers or one large popover, which is, of course, Yorkshire pudding. I've never actually figured out how to do that because by the time I get the meat out and get the fat drained, everybody's ready to eat. And I can't say, wait a minute, you have to wait 20 minutes for a Yorkshire pudding to come out. It just doesn't seem to work for me, so I guess I need to work on my timing skill a little more. So here we are. If you did this in the processor also, it would be smoother. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth, but I like the processor too because not only, as I said, does it smooth it, but it also aerates it a little bit more. And the more air you can get into this, the better, because you really want it to blow up. So this is going to go into the hot pan, and I'm going to sprinkle some Gruyere on it and some sea salt again, and then we're going to let that bake while I finish up my chocolate, I guess. The butter that I'm using is a really good butter. It's high butter fat. That's why it's browning like it is. But you can make this with burned, well, not really burned, but certainly very brown butter. I really like Kerrygold. It's one of the European butters like Plugra that I think just adds a special something to what you're making. Okay, so this is going to go in just like that. You can see it's still a little lumpy, but it's okay. And then it gets some cheese on top. It's a scant cup of cheese. This is our new little cute little grater here that fits right on that. So I'm not going to do all the cheese. The cheese is going to weight it down. So you don't want to get it too heavy. But you really want to do it evenly all around. A little more. And then some salt on it. Salt. I think this sea salt comes from all over. I think you can get it from, mine is from Wacoit because that's where I live, but I think you can buy it all over the Cape, and I think you can buy it from wherever you live. I just like serving Wacoit salt. All right, in the oven you go. For 20 minutes. And that's it. That's our Dutch baby. Let's see how this one looks here. So you can see if you set this down, you want to make sure people do have a lot of napkins, and also you want to make sure they've only had like one glass of wine because otherwise they could fight over it. But this is just cheesy and eggy. pretty and good. It's best warm. This is already at room temp, but nobody's going to turn it down, especially after 2 glasses of wine. All right, so this, let's get that off to the side. And I guess we can move on to our hostess gift or our Christmas gift or Hanukkah gift if you do it in different colors. This is the bark, remember, that we made. I'm going to just show you very quickly how to decorate it. You can get these cellophane bags in any of the craft stores. I think what I like to do with my cellophane bags, where did they go? I like to get the ones that have the bottoms, so be careful when you're buying them. What you want, you can buy them, and they're just the ends or the bottoms are just not flat. The bottoms are just like, they would be just like that. So you can't really settle your food in to them. So these have the nice little bottoms, so make sure that you do get those. And you can also buy them larger, so whatever size cookies you're making or whatever you want to put in. Nuts are really nice in this, but I think food is so beautiful to look at that I really don't like wrapping up food and covering it with tissue paper and all of that kind of stuff. I'd rather look at what we got. So we're going to make one of those look like this. If we have hardened chocolate. And it looks like we do. All right, let me just put you here for now. And you right here. That we don't need. So, pick it up. Parchment paper, the most wonderful thing in the world. This is going to just take the edges because it's not quite as hard as I would like it, but you can still break it up. And you just want to get some of the edges and a couple bite-sized pieces, but people can break it. I would store this at room temp, but you could also store it in the refrigerator if you wanted. It's not usually quite this messy, but of course it's because I'm on television that it's going to be messy. It's going to tell me. And fill the bags. I find that I would get probably 4 to 6 of these bags. And the nice part about this cellophane bag is that if you mess it up like I did with my dirty fingers, just take a pair of scissors and cut off what you messed up. So sometimes they're just also very big. And sometimes if I only put a little bit in, I don't want the bag to be so big because I don't want people saying, hey, how come I only got half of the amount? So, okay. And then take 4 different colors or whatever you have. There's so many beautiful ribbons and stuff to go on packages. I happen to like this one. I think it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. And you just take it like that from all 4. Cut it and tie it around. You could put any greens on this that you would like. I have some nice holly here, which I think looks nice. And a little piece of holly. The more berries, the better, but you can't always find it with berries. You know, in the fall, you could do this with bittersweet and orange and green and brown raffia. But because we're doing December, when this is airing, you could I'm using these colors, but you could certainly, adapt it to any particular color that you would, holiday time that you would like. And I think the holly just adds a little bit of something. It's how I finish my dishes, right? Okay. So there we have another bag. And keep a basket of these. People can take them. I suspect that you would be very popular if you look like Little Red Riding Hood walking around with this basket and offered it to people. So there we have that. Okay. All right, so we started with a wow, and we want to end with a wow. And here is our wow factor, just with lots of butter and cheese and terrific stuff. Wow, yes. And I'm going to just garnish it again. Now, this is how I would serve it, right out of this, because the other thing about this, remember I said that the other one is better, I think they're better warm. This will hold the heat. So it'll stay warmer, it'll still stay warm for like 15 minutes or so. And just garnish this with a little bit of, I don't know, we'll use some of this stuff here. This time, chives, parsley, and it's got the salt on it. And once again, there it is. And then you just tear into it, just like that. How's that? And this would come right out and slide onto a plate if you wanted it to. Nice and gooey and cheesy. Okay. So that's our show for today. I hope you've learned some things about entertaining for the holidays. Oh, that's good. I just want to make sure that you stay tuned for what's coming up in 2020. We have some guest chefs coming in. And this program, I'll stop chewing and swallow, will be called Falmouth Cooks for now, and hosted by myself, Gail Blakely. And we should have some professional chefs and some very experienced home chefs at various times coming through this kitchen. So I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned some things. And so the recipes that we made today, if you'd like them, they will be available on the website at FCTV, and I guess on our at the website, and also on television when this is being run. So thank you all for being here today, my audience, and thank you at home for watching. And I hope to see you again in January. Falmouth is cooking. Thanks.
Cooking in Falmouth is made possible in part by the following. Appliances donated by Crane Appliance. Kitchen installation donated by M. Duffney Builders. Specialty Studio Electric and Gallery installation donated by David Rogers Electric. Kitchenware donated by Eastman's Hardware.